start off by saying that this is my first video of this new set. Hopefully, the first one in a long series. But I suppose I may as well start off by pretty much pointing out that I am not perfect. I'm guaranteed to get a few things wrong. Quite a few things as time goes on. And doubtless I'll end up contradicting myself as I go on in this series. But like I said, I'm not perfect. But I don't think anyone is. I believe that perfection is something we can't obtain on Earth. Everyone from the greatest world leaders to the poorest and purest down and out has some flaw that once seen cannot be unseen. For some people it could be just the simple fact that they embezzled some money, invested it unwisely perhaps, or something greater that other people refuse to see past. Before I go much further, I would like to make something very clear. I am not in any way, shape or form defending those people that abuse their power and abuse those that work under them, be it sexually, emotionally or physically. That sort of abuse is just plain wrong. There's imperfections, and there's that. Who can agree? There's no need to go any further. It's something that goes around Christian circles often enough for us to believe that if we are ever to reach heaven, we need to be perfect. Certainly people say you need to be pure of heart, you need to be pure, clean of your sins. But the important thing is, we all sin eventually. And I don't think the purest of us are actually the best people to guide us out the darkness. So in this video, I will take a look at what it means to be perfect and what God sees as perfect. A good place to start off with is a negative. And who is most famous for giving negatives about Christianity but Richard Dawkins, a notable denouncer and atheist. He has given lectures on a number of occasions proving that God apparently doesn't exist. One of his favourites is pointing out the perfection paradox. In this case, that means that a prey animal is perfectly designed to run away from a predator, so it cannot be caught. And yet the predator is perfectly designed to chase after the prey and catch it. Already you can see the paradox. How can one be perfect for one thing, and yet another also be perfect for exactly the opposite thing? Surely they should cancel each other out, so neither of them exist. Strange enough, before I found that particular lecture, I came across another, where he dissects an animal, I'm not entirely sure what it was, and points out flaws in it. Flaws our designer would see as imperfections, will therefore remove them. So if So if these imperfections are in a body, there can't be a creator, and there can't be a God, because a perfect designer would never leave imperfections. Good arguments, good points. But as far as I can tell, lacking in perspective. Even in the fundamentalists' deep belief that the world is just over 6,000 years old, something like that. The world has changed. We have changed it drastically, and life, by its very nature, has to change with it. So having something designed for one thing would make it pretty much useless when another thing came along. The example I'm going to give is that of a car and an area of land set aside for building a road. Currently, that land is a jungle, a rugged terrain through which it is far easier to walk through, but man needs to get there quickly, so he's going to bulldoze through it and make a road. With asphalt, tarmac or whatever, cat's eyes, double yellow lines, and all the works. Perfect for a Pagani Zonda. Slight though, the road isn't built yet, so buying the his money would be better spent on buying a Land Rover, something more dependable in such rugged terrain. It's not perfect by any means, but it does the job. Nature is full of this make-do attitude. An example I found out, purely from random searches, is that whales, dolphins, and other sea mammals, purely aquatic mammals, they did not develop a swim bladder. Swim bladders are very important in animals that are known for going deep in water. Most sea-dwelling fish have the swim bladder to off-gas any dissolved nitrogen or oxygen in their bloodstream. If they don't, they suffer from decompression sickness, which we call the bend. The bends can be fatal, and is well known amongst deep-sea divers. Since whales and dolphins never developed the swim bladder, you'd think they'd be constantly bent. On the contrary, they off-gas into their bones. Not ideal by any means, but if you think about it, they don't need their bone structure to be that strong compared with, say, a cat, a hippo, or an elephant. They just need their bones to be strong enough to power them through the water, not to support them on land, like us land dwellers do. Clearly it works, because whales and dolphins are still around today. So this brings into question, what is perfection? What is perfect? Well, if we are to define perfect as the best altogether, then perfection is just impossible, certainly here on Earth. An example I like to give is that of birds of prey. We take the two most well-known raptors, the golden eagle and the peregrine falcon. They are perfectly adapted for what they do. The golden eagle will soar on high and can bring down prey easily as big as it. They can bring down deer, hare. That wouldn't be at all slow, they take down 3 dogs. But they can't fly very well in close quarters. The peregrine falcon can dive faster than any living animal. It's catch pigeons and small birds. Again, they're not very good in woodlands in close quarters. That is down to the goshawk. The goshawk rules the woodland. She can fly through trees, catch her prey, and still soar on high pretty well. But she's still pretty small, and she's not particularly fast. So finding a niche for themselves is what matters. And that applies even to us humans, and even in the Bible. You can look at all manner of people in the Bible and say they got their major flaws. But even the ones that are most famous and we naturally associate with being pure as anything, they have more faults than we like to admit. Adam and Eve were the first created man and woman, the purest and the best of God's creation. But they fell into temptation. They were tempted by the serpent, and sinning, being thrown out of the garden. Noah was said to have been seen as perfect by God, and built the ark under God's instructions, gathered the animals to survive the flood. However, one aspect of the story that rarely gets told is what happens afterwards. When the floodwaters go down, the animals disperse. Noah builds a vineyard, gets blind drunk, and passes out naked in his tent. In short, he overindulged. You may call that gluttony, you may call it all manner of things. Moses, the great founder of Israel, who led his people out of Egypt and through the wilderness, he too had his dark days. One of the most famous times was when he came down from Mount Sinai after writing out the Ten Commandments according to God's will, and saw that one of the Ten Commandments was already being disobeyed. Worship idols, don't worship any other gods. And yet they built themselves a golden calf and were worshipping it. You know what he did? Took the tablets, the Ten Commandments on, and he smashed them on the ground and stormed off. He had to write them out again. The son doesn't like writing. I can see that as a major punishment, and to do it all again. But later on, when they wandered in the wilderness and they were lacking for water, God commanded Moses to strike the rocks with his staff. Moses did so, but he made a mistake in saying, "Must we bring forth water for you?" claiming the miracle as his own, not God. That resulted in him being barred from the promised lands. One that might shock people is even Jesus, the Son of God, was not perfect. So not as perfect as we might wish. Yes, he followed the letter of the law, and I'm sure people followed it. But on the very night he was betrayed, after the Last Supper, he went to pray, asking God if this burden could be passed to another, let it do so. He knew full well what his fate was. He was scared, and he asked someone else to take it on. It was in both the Gospel of Matthew and Mark. He's not to find. Both Matthew and Mark mentioned another time when Christ was on the cross. He said a great many things are there. One you don't always hear though is what I think is the only true word of Christ. Said in Aramaic, said in my copy of the Bible. He said, my God, why have you forsaken me? In that moment, he doubted and cried out to God in a manner of a man who is feeling wronged by the Father, a man who has doubted. Remember, it is God's own Son, Christ on earth, God incarnate, Emmanuel, and yet he doubted. So we can see perfection isn't something we can find. But do we need to have perfection? At least the sort of perfection that we all seem to be striving for? I don't think so. If we look at those people in the Bible that weren't perfect, we can see that they just had a job to do. And they did it so well that we can't think of anyone better to do it. And that is where perfection is. In doing the job better than anyone else at the time. Adam and Eve disobeyed, yes. But they were the first man and woman. They were the template, the design for the human race. And it's still going today, at least 6,000 years later. Noah got completely clattered, yes. But he listened to God and built a huge boat in the middle of a drought, despite what his friends and neighbors said. And he gathered all the animals. God described him as perfect for that reason. Moses lost his temper at least twice, smashed things, and claimed powers he did not possess. But he ultimately led the sons of Israel to the promised land and gave them the laws by which they lived. Yes, Jesus asked that his burden could be given to another, but he still obeyed it. He doubted whilst being crucified, and who can blame him? But he bore our sins on the cross and looked to God at the very end. Neither one of them was perfect. But I challenge you to find another person who can do a better job at any of it. Could you lead the people of Israel from slavery through the wilderness, give them their laws, and not beat them over the head? Could you be the perfect template for humankind? Could you, despite all the evidence saying, no, it's going to be perfectly fine, there's not going to be a flood, build a massive boat despite your neighbours telling you otherwise? And could you bear the pain of every man on earth, from the beginning of time to the end of days? All this whilst being betrayed by a friend, and hold true. I somehow doubt it. It's important to bear in mind that God was very aware perfection wasn't going to be on earth. We know he entered at least 4 covenants with his people. And that shows he knew full well that we couldn't manage it all at once. So, he adjusted the terms with each new covenant, thus allowing us to build as people, prove who we are. He knows we're not perfect, and he doesn't expect us to be. In fact, I did a word search on English Bible Hub. And do you know how many times the word perfect appears in the Bible? 160 times. That's in the YLT Bible. That's the most it occurs in any Bible. Others have much less. The earliest time he uses the word perfect is in Genesis, chapter 6, verse 9, where he is describing Noah as being perfect among his generation, because he listened to God as a matter of habit, hence enforcing the fact he was the best man for the job. He doesn't even call his creation perfect. Countless times we see it said, "We saw that it was good." The word good appears at least 549 times, and that's the New International Version of the Bible. Others have it more so. Perfection wasn't even a part of the earth to begin with. Only the people at the time and their attitudes. So to sum up, on the 3 levels, as humans, we're not perfect, and we probably never will be. The natural world doesn't have perfection in it, merely make-dos, and it works pretty well, and we probably never will be. The natural world doesn't have perfection in it, merely make-dos, and it works pretty well. And even people in the Bible are not as perfect as we might like. But God doesn't require 100% perfect men and women for his work. He uses people with doubts, insecurities, anger, and all manner of flaws. He knows we aren't perfect, but that doesn't stop him from loving us. Doesn't mean we can't aim at perfection. It's always worth a try. It doesn't mean we should lose heart and we forever fall short. Aiming for perfection, aiming for God, is what we should do. This is a journey, my friends, and I invite you to join me on this journey. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel and click the bell icon for further updates on new videos. And if you think your friends will enjoy it, please share this. If you want to leave any suggestions for future videos, please do so down in the comments. They will forever remain open. Thank you for listening to this video, and may God be with you.